Coughlin, the JackJumpers. We said pre-game they have no fear when playing on the road, and we saw it in full force.
Not just on the road, though. It's about being in this venue. They love this venue for some strange reason. We spoke to Milton Doyle afterwards. He's such a quiet superstar. So, you know, he gets the job done night in and night out, and he loves what he's doing, and I love the way he plays.
But this is a team made of quiet superstars. Jordan Crawford, another guy, softly spoken, but he will murder you on the court. Scott Roth, we don't hear much from him. There's no drama out of the Tasmanian camp, but they just win games.
They do, and wouldn't you love to be in some of their practices? It'd probably be the quietest practice you've ever seen in your life. But I love what they bring to the table, man. They just go about business every night, night in, night out, and they get the job done. They're 2-1 now. It's tied with Melbourne.
Well, from what I've heard from the way that Scott Roth practices and coaches, those practices are incredibly tough, and I'm not sure whether I would really want to be in on there with
Not
the way
you anyway,
go.
Felix.
Not me, but that's why I'm here. Jordan Crawford as well, unbelievable. He was the one that lit the fuse in the first quarter for the JackJumpers. Milton Doyle took over late, but he got him off to a hot start, 8 straight points.
And we spoke about his size. Mate, he's so good at what he does. He gets past the screen, he can get to the basket, he's a facilitator, but he can shoot the three as well. You can't stay in front of him, and that's going to be a problem for most teams in this league.
Man, you are all compliments post-game when he's played well, but pre-game you were saying you were going to post him up if you were.
Well, I'm retired now. If I was on the court, he'd be on the bench because I'd post him up.
Jordan Crawford was amazing here at Jackson Bay, also providing a lot. The JackJumpers overall, look, they've got their stars in Milton Doyle and Jordan Crawford, but they do it by committee, and it's plays like that, diving on the floor, hard-nosed defense, strangling the opponent, that they get it done week in, week out.
And, you know, I listened to Coach at halftime, quarter time, and he's just so quiet himself. He just comes in, he's calm, no one's yelling or screaming. They listen to each other, and they go out and they perform.
We see the Blackmore shot chart there for Jordan Crawford. 18 points on the night. He was special. Couldn't quite find it from the three-point line, but he still managed to do quite enough for the JackJumpers to get a 5-point win here. But look, Favola raised it. Brendan Favola raised it a little after halftime. Chris Golding, first half, getting some production, getting the ball, getting some good shots. That dried up in the second half, and with it, so did United's offense.
And I speak about this all the time. I think Chris Golding is the best shooter in the league. And if he gets going early, you got to find ways to get him the ball, get him the shot. Now, the thing about Melbourne United, they have a bunch of superstars, so it's going to be hard for him to get a lot of time. But if he's rolling early, I'm going to find time for him.
The thing with United is, you just mentioned it, they're full of superstars. Now, one of those major superstars is still to come into this roster, an MVP contender in Joe Luala-Chul. The man who's currently receiving more minutes with JLA being out is Errol Huckporty. Now, he's tough. He's defensively tough, but on the offensive end, they're still getting a bit of production out of him, but that's going to increase when JLA gets out there.
Absolutely. The JLA, you know how he plays. He loves that ball, and some people call him a black hole, but I think from now, he's matured a lot, and he'll pass that ball around because he has to, because there's so many great shooters on this team. And when you bring him back, Huckporty's time will certainly go down, but he'll learn from him. He'll learn from each other.
Now, if you're Dean Vickerman, I want to pick your brain for a little bit, your player's mind. If you're Dean Vickerman, are there any specific changes? Who gets less shots? Who gets less time when you bring JLA and Ian Clark starts to play a little bit of heavier minutes?
Well, look, Dean Vickerman's a veteran at this. He's done it before. I think he won in 21, and he knew he had a double team as well then. So he knows how to play these guys. And the thing about these guys, they're unselfish. They're not worried about their minutes or their scoring. As long as they're winning, and they win a ring at the end of the year, everyone's happy.
And the one thing about Dean Vickerman we've seen time and time again with Scotty Hobson, especially in previous years, he will play you if you're ready to play. It doesn't matter whether you're a superstar or not. If you're not bringing it, he will move you to the bench. So I can expect a lot of changes to be made when they're needed to be made. They've got the right guy at the helm in Dean Vickerman. But it is a Sunday doubleheader. The Sydney Kings set to unveil their championship banner against the Adelaide 36ers. Now, we could talk for a long time about the Adelaide 36ers who currently sit at 0-3, but I want to get your early thoughts on where they're at as a team at the moment.
Right now, look, the Adelaide 36ers are close. Look, every game they've been in, but they seem to lose it at the end. I just think they need to get that other import in as soon as possible to give themselves a chance, because to go 0-4 in this league, you put yourself on the back foot.
Well, John Casey mentioned during the broadcast that if you go 0-4, it almost puts you in the position where you can't lose too many games, such as the parity in this league, to be able to make it. So will it be too little too late if they get that import, if they drop this game against the Kings? But from maybe a bit of a negative, hopefully turns into a positive, back over to the Sydney Kings, who are set to unveil their championship banner. Back-to-back champions. They look to have found a pretty decent coach for the third time in a row.
Absolutely, and I've been in Sydney. I know what it's like up there. 16,000 people there. There's going to be yelling and screaming, and everyone's happy. Adelaide have a tough job going in there trying to get that win. But look, when you're under pressure like that, sometimes you play better. So we will wait and see.
Some crumble under pressure, but not if you're Leonard Copeland and your jersey hangs in the rafters. Pressures for tyres. Let's have a look. Speaking of tyres, let's have a look at the Mitsubishi Motors ladder right now. Melbourne, no more undefeated teams. Now, that doesn't come as a shock to me.
Not at all, because the league's so even. I mean, guys, look, we have an 0-3 team in Adelaide and a 1-3 team in Southeast Melbourne. But by the end of the year, a lot of these teams will have wins, and they all play the same. So I just feel like the league is very, very full.
Well, that's all she wrote from John Cain Arena. The JackJumpers with a 5-point win on the road against Melbourne United. But the action doesn't stop here. The Sydney Kings in action against the Adelaide 36ers.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
Brekkies better at Hungry Jack's. Try a Jack's Brekkie roll with flame-grilled sausage, crispy bacon and smoky barbecue sauce. And get Jack's Cafe's rich, velvety smooth barista coffee. Buy 4 and your 5th is free. Brekkies better at Hungry Jack's.
Good health changes everything. So don't accept age as a limit or a bad night's sleep.
Hello, how are we going? Very well. How about this? Is this better?
Keep learning new moves.
All right. Have you got a good shot of my face, which is nigh impossible, really?
Stop.
I think I look pretty good.
This program is brought to you by Hungry Jack's and Bunnings Warehouse.
The ball in the hands of the competition's MVP. To the cup. Kawhi to the basket. Off the glass. Oh! Here he is for 3. Huge! Shot clock at 7. Time to go to work. They've done it again. The Sydney Kings sit on their throne and rule over the NBL. There's no question about it. The Sydney Kings of this modern era will go down as one of the great teams here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. And today, for the first time in front of their home crowd at Kudos Bank Arena, they got to celebrate the success of winning their second successive NBL championship. The rings were presented, the banner unfurled, and the Kings, in front of a massive crowd, have a chance to turn today into a party-like atmosphere. Hello and welcome to round 2 action here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. The Sydney Kings playing host to the Adelaide 36ers inside Kudos Bank Arena. More than 16,000 fans in the house. I'm Jack Heverin, former league MVP Derek Rucker alongside me. Ruck, it's a great atmosphere. It's great to be here. And well, for this Sydney Kings teams, as we start to take a look at the Mitsubishi ladder, the quick turnaround might not be the worst thing for them after going down on Friday.
Well, they were defeated quite handily down in Tasmania, Jack, on Friday night. And certainly one thing you do not want to do is sit around at home dwelling on a loss. So to get back out here on a big occasion and to be able to get back and get a win possibly in front of this home crowd is exactly what they needed.
You can see the ladder just after Melbourne defeated Tassie a short time ago. There is Jalen Adams, the MVP from 2 seasons ago. They just had the ring presentations. They made a special official video for Jalen, and it said the king is home.
Well, we know he is a supreme talent. My only question, Jack, is he hasn't played a lot of meaningful basketball since he departed Sydney, but the other night he was very strong against Tasmania, probably their shining light. We know he is an immense talent, and there's no doubt that he can take over a game on his own. The Kings, I believe, are going to need sublime performances from him early in the season just to rack up some wins while the rest of the team develops chemistry.
And that man right there, I should say on your screen, Alex Toohey is one of the best young Australian basketball prospects, 19 years of age. He took Tasmania apart in the first half on Friday night with 14 points.
Great shooter, good athleticism. He's got nice size and a tremendous attitude. We know where next stars go from when they play well in this league. There's no doubt Alex Toohey is going to be an NBA player.
Still, as we mentioned, just 19 years, decommitted from Gonzaga to be here in the NBL as part of the Next Stars program. He has an extremely bright future both here and abroad. Speaking of abroad, Brad Rosen, former captain of the Sydney Kings, welcome to you. Let's talk about Denzel Valentine. He arrived at the Sydney Kings with NBA pedigree, just hasn't quite got going yet.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Well, you're 100% right. He's averaging 5 rebounds a game and 7 assists. That's okay. But it's his production on the offensive end, 7 points at 35%. That's the thing that they're looking to. You look at this crowd, this enthusiasm. I had a chat to him before the game. He is so pumped, so I'm expecting a big one from him tonight.
There are his numbers, but as we say, comes with NBA pedigree to the tune of 250-plus games. So he will certainly find his feet. For the Adelaide 36ers, Derek, they haven't found their feet yet.
They haven't, Jack, but I think their results can be somewhat misleading. You know, they got off to a great start against Brisbane in the opener, and I think if you look at that game and the way they fought back the other night against Perth, they are right in there. They're not as bad as you think, despite the winless record.
Let's get over to Pete Hooley, part of our team this afternoon. Hools, welcome to you. And from an Adelaide perspective, the shining light so far has got to be Isaac Humphries.
Yeah, guys, look, he's been unbelievable when he's been throwing the ball down low. He started the season off on fire against the Brisbane Bullets, led them to a 17-2 start. Then he sat down, the Bullets came back and won that game. Didn't see a whole lot of it against Melbourne, and then looked really good with 18 points against Perth on Friday night. They've only scored in a 70 all 3 games, so if they need to get the scoreboard ticking over, it's going to be having to use a healthy Isaac Humphries. Let's not forget, a couple of years ago, before he got riddled with injuries, he was one of the best big men in the league. He looks bouncy today. Let's see how he goes early on in this one.
He's going to have his hands full today with Jordan Hunter and Jonah Bolden. Jonah Bolden starting to really find his feet now back in the NBL. Let's take a look at the starting fives for the Adelaide 36ers firstly. Derek, they have been playing around with this starting lineup.
I like this lineup. I think this is the best lineup they can put out there right now. Trey Kell, been a bit underdone so far, missed the blitz. I think today he starts to find some match fitness and some better productivity. Jason Kadee and Isaac Humphries have been holding it down, doing a really good job. Wiley McCarron got a lift. Those two guys are going to be the reason why they're able to win this game based on their performances.
There is CJ Bruton, the coach of the Adelaide 36ers this season. Has started under pressure, there's no doubt about that. They are a team that need to get going, and the 36ers fans have got expectations, and it hasn't worked for them so far. Meanwhile, the Sydney Kings, in front of this massive Kudos Bank Arena crowd, a different-looking starting lineup for them. Galloway and Toohey will start again this afternoon.
Well, I think this is a much more athletic lineup. It's slightly smaller. This allows Adams to really dominate the ball every possession and make plays. We know Valentine can shoot it. Brad touched on it before. They're looking for more efficiency from him. And Jordy Hunter's a very underrated local center in this competition. I like what he does. As long as he can stay healthy, he is very efficient and knows his role.
Who are you with, Derek, and why?
Oh, I think the Sydney Kings take this. Sometimes you get a little bit of an emotional letdown after the banner celebration, but this is a Kings game.
Sydney at home for the first time this season. This venue was a fortress for them last year. They've won 10 of their last 12 games on this floor. As Wiley rolls to the cup, swings to the corner, and Kadee off target. Shooting's been a problem for Adelaide.
It has, Jack, and it's not only this season, last year too. Already they're 37% from the field and a paltry, measly 25 from the 3.
Shooting not a problem for Jalen Adams.
Great start for Adams, exactly what he wanted after the The special tribute video, Jack, before the game, as you alluded to, rarely do you get a tribute video when you return to a team unless you've retired or something.
You ever have a tribute video made
Jack.
for you, Derek?
No. They didn't do them back then.
Not that time, though, for Adams. Trey Kell find underneath for Humphries, and Kell puts it back in.
Trey Kell just looking a little bit, doesn't quite have his season legs yet, Jack, and I think, you know, that's only one thing. That's just getting up and down, running the floor. That's the only way you're going to get your legs under you and develop that cardiovascular conditioning that's required to excel in the position that he plays.
So he's 12 of 38 for the season so far, Trey Kell.
That's rough.
Humphries denied. Nice hands by Hunter. Valentine spins. He's become the master of the spin already, and Tui takes the contact.
Well, we've been talking about Valentine before the tip-off here, and that's what he does so well. His assists ratio has been great. We're obviously looking for points production as well, but getting that kid to the free throw line is exactly what he does.
This new Sydney Kings coach, Mahmoud Abdel Fattah. His first time today at home.
Jack, nice to meet you, Mahmoud. Great to meet you, Mahmoud.
See, he's introducing himself to the referee.
Can I say, he is the nicest guy. Every contact I've had with him, he is just so polite. I saw before the tip-off here, looked over, make sure his wife's comfortable, relaxed.
Brad, you look in the dictionary for pure?
Yeah, that's him. Oh, there's a photo with both thumbs up.
Yeah, well, that free throw wasn't pure, was it, Jack?
No, sir.
Whoa.
Can't say I've ever heard a referee get introduced to a coach a couple of minutes into the game. This Kadee with the bucket underneath.
Jason Kadee looks so much more comfortable playing for this Adelaide 36ers lineup. Again, he's able to get out there and do what he does best, spread floor, cut, uses intelligence.
Galloway steps out. Had 11 and 5 on Friday night against Tassie.
And that's the bit that he's been working on so hard in the off-season. We know how good he is out in the break, but being able to knock down that three, that's going to take him to another level.
Adams in the open court, only McCarron in front of him. Did well not to foul. And Cal catches in transition. Adelaide 2 of 6 to start the game. Valentine, such a pure shooter.
A real good look there, great job. Gets the dribble handoff, is able to set his feet, knock down the jumper. And 2 good looks already from Valentine and Adams.
Derek, I wanted to ask you, I'm sure many minimal times you would have gone through your career and struggled to shoot, but that first one, getting it going, that's a huge key.
Big time, especially in front of your home crowd. And you can feel the energy in the building. There's an anticipation. There's an expectation of excellence. And sometimes how you start early, Brad, is it can really set the table for what's going to go on, not only for the rest of the game, but for the season as well.
Saw the Mitsubishi Motors three-pointer foam hands in the crowd. Might have Mitsubishi back with us this season. Tui tries to pull the trigger on another Mitsubishi Motors 3. Galloway almost.
Bad signs early, Jack. Too many good looks for the Sydney Kings. The 36 has got to tighten up.
Might just settle them down a little.
I've never known a made three-pointer to be a bad thing. As Valentine lets one fly. Jack, we got a shootout here on Sunday. Shout out to all lispers.
Big crowd inside Kudos Bank Arena. We mentioned somewhere up around 15, 16,000 people. Humphries, who spent a bit of time as a Sydney King. They continue to trade buckets early. Tui couldn't involve Callan. Adelaide have got numbers up ahead. Wiley on the move. It's a one-point game.
Well, this is what we liked about them in Perth in that third quarter. This is where they were great. Humphries was outstanding, but they got stops on the defensive end and then was able to run. And Wiley in the open court, oh, I love him.
What are you seeing? We're only a few games in, Brad and Derek. Any subtle differences with Sydney so far under coach Abdel Fattah?
I think there's just a little bit of apprehension due to the fact they're not comfortable with each other yet. But in terms of structure, if you look at what they're doing here in this game so far, it's been a nice blend of scheme and individual brilliance. So I've got no doubt once they gel and he works out the rotations, and Jack, he's got to learn this league. We harp on it regularly that the NBL is unlike any other league in the world. It's got a bit of NBA, it's got a bit of college, it's got a bit of Europe. There's a lot to deal with and learn, Brad.
You're 100% right. And not only that, then they've got to bring DJ Hogg into that rotation as well and make sure that everything's right. I heard you say before the tip-off, I'm with you. January is where we're going to see them roll.
That's too easy for Sydney. Bad breakdown from the 36ers.
You're not telling a lie there, Jack, and they got to tighten it up. This is just poor defensively. You got to bring more effort.
Mitch McCarron on the free throw line, the Adelaide captain. What's it like? You two have both played in good teams. You've also played in some teams that have had some struggles. What's it like when you're in a situation like Adelaide where it's not going well at the start of the season and you know that people are talking about you and you're trying your hardest, but it just doesn't feel like it's changing?
Well, I think Brad and I both benefited from playing before social media.
Yeah, so true.
Because I do empathize with these guys, what they deal with. But, you know, what you can't do when you got off to an 0-3 start is start looking ahead and trying to count possible wins and losses, because you can really get into a negative spiral. And you've just got to really lock in on the daily thing and just try and get better. I know it sounds corny, but it's true.
Well, when I look at Adelaide, and you say they're 0-3, there were times there on all three games that they had possibility to A, get the win, or B, be right in there. And, you know, all of them can play. He does that and turn around. So they've got to be careful not to get too down on themselves. And like Derek said, with that social media, it's so hard with outside noise. Take it away and stay in.
Third quarter on Friday night, they outscored Perth 29-20 and put themselves right back in the game. Glover. At that time, he was knocking that down with ease in the championship series earlier this year.
And Jack, it truly was one of the more heroic performances in that championship series, Game 5, from Angus Glover in recent years. Was doubled over in the corridor or in the back down there with a chest or sternum, rib, some type of injury. And I think I thought I reported during the game, Jack, that I thought he was done, and he came out and hit some big shots. Took a charge late and was a key piece in that banner being up there in the rafters.
Trey Cowell knocks it down, and Adelaide find themselves in front for the first time today.
Well, we talk about the defense, the fact that the Adelaide 36ers have given up 16 points, Derek. It's 18 for the Kings as well. They've got to lock that down, or this will be a shootout, which will shoot Adelaide.
Well, I wouldn't be banking on Adelaide being able to keep this rate of shooting up. They're at a good clip right now, 40% from the three. The Kings are at 57. Somebody's got to make the decision that my man's not getting a good look, and it's not on this possession. Oh, hello.
McCarron with the tricks. It backs down on Adams. A little size advantage, perhaps. Shot clock at 8 for Cal. Hand in the face. That's a tough look.
Derek, I want to ask you, the Kings renowned, they switch everything.
Yes.
But when you look at a Jalen Adams, and I noticed in Wollongong the other night too, he gets switched and he gets taken down there. The strength of him in the block. He can hold people, which allows that switch to happen.
And you know what? Sometimes it's not a bad thing if a team feels that they can go and post up a guard. It's not something that's very much in vogue nowadays. And sometimes trying to attack that guard in the block with a player who may not even be playing to his strengths doesn't do your team any good. And really, you're really playing into the defender's hands in that case.
Jonah Bolden throws a bullet for Kawhi.
That's a dime from Bolden. Great look. I ain't gonna lie, Jack, I thought it was a bad decision, but the way Kawhi is shooting the ball right now, anytime you can get him the ball, Brad, it's a good one.
Well, now that he's knocked down his first one, we saw game one how good he was, but then you go to Illawarra the other night, and he couldn't do it. But look at this quick move from Jonah, and then whips it across on the other side of the court. That's not good D. You have to know you've got Watnoy and beyond.
Saw it all in the Harvey Norman replay. Sean Bruce pushes the tempo. Noy for his second three. Got it!
That's just falling asleep, ball watching. He's just hit a three. You got to be up in his rib cage. Now he's hit two. He's a problem for the rest of the game now. His confidence is running high. Look at him. Now Watnoy is ready to defend and do a little bit of everything.
Knocked down 6 threes. As Cal scores again. 6 threes in round one. Kawhi. He's very quiet on Friday night, but he's ultra-aggressive so far this afternoon.
We're going to talk about this. No call has been made yet.
There's a block, Brad.
Yeah,
you see the Harvey Norman replay. Noy sets the feet, feeling good. Right here, that's a block. Get up off the ground, and one.
Yeah, the explanation.
Yeah, so all I was going to say is this is the luxury the Kings have because they've got caught in the 4 spot, right? So that means, you know, we speak about are they short or whatever. Someone's got to guard him. And that means the 4-man for the 36ers, he's struggling right now.
And I think the Kings, you know, they went out and re-signed that bench quickly. I think Jack and I spoke about it at the Blitz. And this is one of the reasons they wanted to make sure that they had that core group they could bring in on other second teams and be able to gain an advantage.
And that's the disadvantage, offensive rebounds when you're shorter. You have to box out.
Purple, 45, hit, 2 shots.
Officials this afternoon, Vaughan Mabry, Alex McEwen and Jack Taylor. And if you have missed the earlier game today, Tasmania went to John Cain Arena in Melbourne and beat the highly fancied Melbourne United 80-75 on the back of a Milton Doyle masterclass.
And Brad, people around the country in my travels keep doubting Tasmania. You cannot doubt them. They could have the best coach in the league. On any night, they could have the best player in the league in Milton Doyle. Now they've added a dynamic point guard in Jordan Crawford. They've added length and athleticism on the rim. And they've added Anthony Drimmick. They're better than they were the past 2 years.
Totally agree. And I thought Milton Doyle was great last year. He's better this year. He has come back so ready.
He's the captain of my super coach team also, by the way, Jack.
Clever. I hope you've got Kawhi in your team. I certainly do. Well, he's got 11 points.
And Derek, you mentioned it. It's that first three.
First one.
Now look at him. Look, his eyes are wide open. He's taking Galloway down low, says, nope, you can't stop me.
Well, I mean, it's funny, Brad, because I remember playing against you. You'd come off the bench for the Sydney Kings teams, but you were brought to bring energy, productivity, and drive right away. And it was always important when I played against you that your first 2 plays weren't successful.
Thanks, that's when they sat me. I appreciate that.
No, but anytime you got it going, you were a problem. And right now, we're seeing a perfect example of Watnoy. He believes he can do anything now. He's going to shoot this one. He's open.
Glover finds him. Noy pulls the trigger. Not that time.
Great find, too, by Glover. That's knowing.
Can you hook us up with tomorrow's Powerball numbers? 28-21. Kings in charge, Glover.
And Jack
thinks that he got a lot of ball there, Brad.
Yeah, that's what you've got to do at the other end. If you're going to have to guard it, Watnoy or others at the other end will go to your strengths down here. And they got the switch and he had Glover on him. Take your time. They cleared out. They did well, Adelaide, and let him go to work.
Jack, the NBL is not hurting for entertaining games. These games just continue to provide some form of entertainment. I've obviously buried the lead there, but I'm sure we'll address it at some point.
Starling misses the first. Scott sits down. No burgers yet for Kings fans, but they'll be happy with their team's first quarter. They lead by 6 inside the last minute. Jalen Adams is sub back in.
Jalen, white 44.
And he'll be shooting bonus free throws. I just want to go back to something that you both spoke about in the pre-game about Sydney seemingly being okay with starting slowish. Most teams and certainly fans want to start the season with a bang and go out hard, but we speak to anyone at Sydney, they're saying, look, we're expecting to be about where we are right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, we all three of us spoke to Bogut before there, and that's exactly what they're expecting. Wait till they lose 2. All right, when they lose 2 in a row, this is Sydney. We don't know, that's not what we want. But right now, they do have to keep that in perspective. With a new coach, 5 new players, and still arguably one of the best in the league in DJ Hogue to come back, there's a lot of moving pieces.
It's the paradox of winning.
Yeah.
There are expectations, yes, but then there's also the luxury of time because they've won the past 2 championships. They're playing with house money, Jack. The fans have been spoiled. So, yes, they do have time, and we expect them to come home strong, but yet there will be certain frustrations if they drop a couple games in a row.
So let me ask you this, Derek. If they brought back the same team from last year...
They're winning the championship.
Would there be pressure right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
More.
That's what I was getting
More
at.
pressure.
Absolutely. This is... Because they've got so many less players, it takes that pressure off.
Good.
Kings will have the final possession of this opening quarter. They already have 30 points on the board. Pete Hawley spoke about Adelaide's inability to defend pre-game. It's a problem for them again. Adams for Valentine, off balance, off the window. Finishes the first quarter in style for the Sydney Kings. And playing in front of a big crowd at Kudos Bank Arena has clearly got them pumped up. They lead by 10, 32-22. Sunday Hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
We thank you for your support. Man, Beyond Bank. Yes. Hey, the Sydney Kings are on fire from 3. Make sure you guys are holding up your signs. Shout out to Mitsubishi Motors. But let's turn it on one time. Let's go. Where's my City boys at? We got Douglas with me right now. Turn up.
Sydney Kings on their home floor for the first time this afternoon, and they've got a 32-22 lead over the Adelaide 36ers. And They've got hot very, very quickly, Sydney. Kawatnoi has 12 points. Who put that on the bloody screen? Denzel Valentine has 8, and the Sydney Kings have been outstanding so far. Jack Heron alongside Derek Rucker and Brad Rosen. Pete Hooley is courtside. Hulls.
CJ at quarter time, his message was really simple. Defensively, they just weren't there in the first quarter. Probably lucky not to be down more considering how many open shots they gave up. He wants them to play through their chest defensively, unlike that first possession, which is not going to make him happy. And as you guys mentioned in the first quarter, Adelaide haven't scored in the 80s so far in their first 3 games. They do not want to get in a shootout against the Sydney Kings. Right now, they're on track to score 120, and that's not going to help them win.
See what sort of adjustments can be made. Nice take there from Sunday Detch. What's happening defensively for Adelaide? Or what's not happening defensively?
Well, for me, I think offensively they're struggling, which is then allowing the Kings to get the ball and go. So tighten that up a little bit, then you don't have to be worried about their defensive transition so much.
Well, it comes down to your pride. Sometimes it's not about the scheme and how you're helping and all that type of stuff. You just got to look at your man in the chest and stop him from getting the ball. Stop him from getting his hit by your hit. Stop him from getting catches in good scoring areas. Just got to shut your cat down.
And Jack, you mentioned before, you know, you get through seasons that can be a struggle. This is the time. You've got to be careful now. Home, you know, Kings are at home. You don't want this thing 20-25 at half time. So you've got to dig deep, look at each other and go, let's get this going. Are you laughing because you know it's going to be?
Kawatnoi, the game's leading scorer, has 12. Denzel Valentine has 10. Roy tees off once more. Adelaide still winless to start this season. Sunday Detch just had it ripped away. Galloway in transition. Adams can reset with time on the clock. Glover for 3. Just hasn't been able to get himself into it. Great save by Galloway. And Kawatnoi misses from close range.
What about that athleticism from Galloway?
And the skill to deliver the ball right where it needed to go.
Adelaide are just hanging in right now, it feels.
They need a good set. We need to move this ball around, get some body movement, ball movement. Wiley goes one-on-one for a bucket, but I just don't think that's a way to build any sustained success on the offensive end, Brad.
Agreed. Look, to me, I know you can't blame every minute, but you need Humphries back in the court. That's the man that's got to see the ball there to try and get the scores to slow their transition down.
We played the 5 minutes so far. Isaac Humphries. Off the back of 18 points on Friday night against Perth. Is there still room in the modern game for the old-fashioned spray from the coach?
At your peril.
The old school says to me, absolutely. But the next generation, don't know.
One ever stick out in your mind, Brad, that you were on the receiving end of as a team?
Not only one.
Well, Brad played in an era under the great Mike Wroblewski.
Oh, yeah.
When he owned the team.
You mean coaches? Sorry, I thought you meant owners.
Where Mike Wroblewski was known to come in and have a few words post-game.
Pre-game, post-game.
Really?
After game,
really?
Mondays.
He was a great man.
He was. Look, Mike.
I know you love the passion.
Absolutely. That was the one thing you say about, there was never contracts, you know, like what he'll look you in the eye and what he says is what happens. And that was exactly what it was. But some people, not always appeal.
Well, I remember some times beating the Kings in the old Encent, and the players wouldn't present for hours afterwards. That's when everyone used to hang around at the bar back in the day, Brad.
Yep.
And yeah, sometimes the Kings wouldn't show up. I think you were having talking to.
Even during the game, sometimes we didn't show up.
You guys were very good, and now one of the storied sporting franchises anywhere in Australia.
Look, it is one of the best clubs to play for. There's no question. And obviously, I've played my whole career here, so I can't talk about other ones. But blessed to be in this city that the support is so passionate.
It'll be an offensive foul on Humphries.
We've seen a bit of that, Jack. You talked about it during the blitz as a point of emphasis. When you see that elbow extended, it's almost an automatic reflex now from the referees. They are going to blow that thing.
Yeah, it's a briefing from the referees. All the clubs got it. We as commentators got it as well. There's a couple of focus areas, so for the fans at home, one of them is that off arm, Brad, and using it to push off like that one.
Yeah, totally. And the hard thing is, a lot of people these days, and Derek, I know you do a lot of one-on-ones, they teach that as well to try and keep your man away. But the difference between on your hip and extended is so minor that that's called every time.
35-26. Sydney at home for the first time this season. Pre-game, there was a fantastic ceremony and presentation of the championship rings and the unfurling of the banner. Great that Eric Cook, Xavier's dad, could be here to receive Xavier's ring this afternoon.
Oh. You heard that one here, Jack. That is a good old-fashioned hack.
Which is a good effort.
I like this matchup down low with Hunter and Humphries. Big men. We both have good hands and nimble on their feet.
Here's our Reebok influencer seats for this afternoon. Sofa Dofa, more than 1 million followers on TikTok, Derek, which is a hell of a lot more than you've got. And Jade and Lockie are here as well. Successful in the fashion label industry.
Well, fashion label, Isaac Humphries, are we aware that he released a single recently? He is very music-orientated, Isaac, and he released a single, got a nice voice on him.
To try and get our hands on that one, Brad, is that on Spotify or?
Oh, now you're way over.
you listen to it on a 45?
Yeah, yes. They still DVD.
That time for Noy. Galloway almost tipped it in. Just for a couple of minutes at least, Adelaide have managed to slow Sydney down offensively. Galloway with his feet set. Kyron Galloway showing his brother how it's done.
And Jack, we mentioned it in the opener. It's really hard to say that Adelaide's a bad team. You can't say they're a good team. But they show flashes of both in the game. And right now, they're only 5 points down, now 8. But it feels like they're being significantly outplayed, Brad.
Yeah, you're right. And I think really the Kings have missed some easy ones too.
Right.
And, you know, you add that in there, that's going to be a lot more. But still, you got to make them. Unlike that one.
Let's get courtside, Pete Hooley.
He talked a bit about the Adelaide 36ers so far to start. I mean, they're up 17-2 against Brisbane. I mean, the perfect start to a season. Obviously, they let it get away. Melbourne United looked like they were going to run away with a win on their home floor until giving up back-to-back offensive rebounds that ended up in a Delhi 3, which really broke their backs. And they nearly stole that one in Perth. They've been in every single game, and that possession right there is exactly what makes CJ Bruton unhappy. They play great defense as a team, and then one easy pass to a wide-open shooter. You close out with your hands down behind your knees. Glover hits a 3, and it kind of sucks the air out of their little run back.
Saw it all, the Harvey Norman replay. And Angus Glover 3. Trenton Flowers checks in for some second quarter minutes. Next start out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Hunter, I should say, with the left hand.
Jordy Hunter played a big role in that championship series also, Jack. Had some stretches where he was the dominant presence for the Kings.
Trey Kell takes the contact and one.
And I'd like to see more of that from him. Away from the ball, cutting, using screens. He's got good size, but sometimes, Brad, I think he relies on his shake and bake, his one-on-one stuff too much. Space the floor with your talent, come off of a good screen hard, look to attack the backboard, and finish with skill.
Completely agree, and that's where I like Isaac being in that passer. He does make good decisions, and that cut, exactly like you said, Derek, dwelling on what Peter Hooley says, that's what CJ's looking for. Let's stay in that half-court set and run our offense.
Last season was with Southeast Melbourne, had 24 games, had a few issues with injury. Averaged 12.5 points a game. Just didn't sort of seem like he really got himself comfortable at any stage last season.
And Jack, I'm not sure if you're a plus-minus guy. I've seen you kind of move on both sides of that equation at times. But in only 9 minutes of play, Denzel Valentine is a plus 16.
When it's a good number like that, then I'm with it.
Oh, right, okay.
It makes sense today.
Yeah. It's like anything, Brad. You just follow the winning team, basically. Plus minus is winning at the moment, so you follow it. Off the inbound. Bolden foul. And Adelaide again allow an easy bucket off the baseline.
Yeah, exactly, Jack. That's just too easy. That's just one simple back screen, no communication. Jonah Bolden gets the ball, up fake, foul.
Well, remember, Brad, back when we played, almost automatically on an inbound underneath the basket, we'd go zone.
No one does that now.
No one does it anymore. And it doesn't mean you have to stay in the zone, but you can show zone, match up on the first or second pass, and I think that could be really disruptive instead of giving up a bunny like that one. And I know you're good friends with Jonah's dad, Bruce, who was my roommate for 5 years at West Sydney on the road. Hopefully you've got some Jonah Bolden intel for us, Brad.
Always got Jonah Bolden intel.
Good.
That guy I used to pick up in a baby seat on the way to training, so plenty to come. Mind you, he was 6'1" then too, so.
Athletic rebound from Flowers, and Humphries runs the floor, denied by Hunter. Adelaide will get the ball back, but it's the little things that Jordan Hunter does so well.
Exactly what I was going to say, and that's what you were talking about there, Derek, as well. It's just what he brings to this program. You've got to remember, in that first championship season, he did not play, right? So last year was such a big thing for him to be part of that, and I know he felt so good, but not a lot of minutes this year. He's got so much.
Well, in this NBL season, to win a championship, at some point, I don't care how minor or insignificant you think your role is to start the season, you're going to be required to make a contribution that is going to impact a game. And I think that's where Jordy Hunter is vital. That's where Glover is vital. That's where Sean Bruce is vital as Glover gets fouled in transition.
Good pass from Denzel Valentine as well. Had 10 assists in round one, and Sydney will be shooting free throws. Pete Hooley.
To know both these teams coming off the losses, but a road trip on the second leg of the doubleheader. No timeouts yet. 4 minutes to go into the second quarter. We're yet to have a timeout, and the pace this game's going at, you have to think it's going to obviously suit Sydney's style of play, but especially their depth, which we know in the last couple of years has helped them be so successful. CJ's looked to call a couple on wide open shots from the Kings, but they've come up short, and he's put it away. So I'm a bit surprised we haven't seen a timeout yet.
Pete, can I ask you, what's the body language like for the Adelaide 36ers?
I mean, to be honest, a lot of them look really tired. I mean, they're coming over from Perth, so you expect them to be a little bit tired and exhausted after a second leg on a doubleheader, and obviously they put so much into it and nearly got close to a big upset on the road. It's easier for Sydney. You see they're up and about with this unbelievable crowd here at Kudos Bank Arena, but every time they seem to go on a run, Sydney are hitting a shot that's zapping out the energy. Now the bench is up and about. I'm not close enough to them, but it sounds like they heard me.
Hey, Pete, coming out of Perth after that game the other night, would you have preferred when you were playing to have caught that red eye or waited the next day and flown over?
Well, Ruck, I caught the red eye last week, and I used all my points to try and get it up to the front of the plane, and Tasmania were on the flight as well, and I felt bad when Marcus Lee and Scott Roth walked past me, and I'm in 1A. But I tell you what, I mean, I had a bit of a snooze. I did feel bad. I offered it to Scott Roth. He said he was too nice for bloke. I said, absolutely not. Don't worry about that. So I appreciate that from Rothy. But it's an interesting one because you're right, it does matter, the time difference and everything, and it is a tough road trip, especially when they got so close. It also takes that emotion out of it as well.
What about 1A Hooley over there?
Right?
Flying up the front. Not for blokes like you and I, Derek.
Nope.
We helped the staff load the luggage onto the plane this morning.
Can we get through to Scott Roth to find out if he actually did try and give up his 1A? I'm guessing he did not.
Not on the red eye, no way.
Derek, did you prefer to catch the red eye?
You know, Brad, it depended. Like, if I was going to Sydney, I think I was always keen to get home because there was something to do. You know, I had the kids and so forth, so I'd try and catch that red eye. But any other time, I prefer to get a good night's sleep and fly out the next day. 23E.
Galloway for 2 more. Starting to get himself involved in the game now, Kyron Galloway. That's 5 points. Bruce for Hunter. Now Bolden. It's good.
That's going to be key. If he can do that at a 37, 38% clip and get 3 or 4 off a game, that is going to be invaluable for the Kings.
Snooze time out. It's the Kings who lead 49-38 with 2:58 before halftime. The biggest story in the NBL right now is Aaron Baines last night in the Brisbane Bullets game against the Cairns Taipans. For the latest on that, earlier today, Olga Ulich from ESPN.com.au spoke with Felix von Hoff with an update.
Now, I just want to touch on an incident that happened last night in the Sunshine Stoush, Brisbane versus Cairns. Now, Aaron Baines, if you haven't seen the footage, got incensed at a missed call on a rebound. There was elbows going back and forth. You can see the footage now. Now, a pretty unassuming incident. I'm joined by ESPN insider Olga Ulich here. This was the on-court incident, but it's what happened when the cameras were away and the players entered the tunnel, Olga, that a bit more of a fracas occurred.
Yeah, my reporting at ESPN is that there was a physical altercation at halftime between Aaron Baines and Cairns Taipans head coach Adam Ford. After all the teams went back to the locker room, those two came together in some way. There was a physical altercation that ultimately led to Adam Ford allegedly being either thrown or pushed against the wall.
Now, of course, we have to stress that we don't know who instigated this incident, whether it be Aaron Baines or Adam Ford. Adam Ford known for protecting his players at all costs. But where to from now? Obviously, the NBL is going to seek the footage, and there's going to be a tribunal of sorts, and there's going to be repercussions from this incident.
The NBL is currently investigating it. They are in the process of obtaining the vision of that incident and collecting statements from people involved. They want to know who instigated this, what actually happened. They've heard things from both sides. They want to find out what happened.
Well, thanks, Olga.
Olga Ulich earlier today with Felix von Hoff at John Cain Arena. We've had the best part of 12 or so hours to take it all in. What do we think?
Well, I found it really emotional, Jack. It was sad, it was unfortunate, and it really sucked the life out of the arena, as I reported last night. I don't know, I don't know how the parties, how we can get the facts on what went on, but it's up to the NBL now. But look, there's so many layers to this that, it's probably going to be a moments that matter piece for us, Jack.
Sure will be. It's Hunter with 1 on the clock. Brad, what about from a leadership point of view with Aaron Baines and the role that he plays, not only in the Brisbane team, but within Australian basketball and his standing and the optics of it?
Yeah, I think that's where it's hard, and I go with what Derek said as well. We don't know the whole situation, so we are doing this from afar because we don't know what could have started at halftime. But to see Aaron do that, like those eyes and what happened, that is a leader of that team, which did surprise me. It did surprise me that he had to go to that. I thought what Sobey did and the referee walking away and everyone trying to grab him was exactly the right thing, but there's no question there'll be repercussions.
Keep you updated with that one across the afternoon if more news comes to hand. Sunday dance block, Geordie Hunter.
Purple number 1, hold, baseline.
Sydney are over the limit, so Adelaide will be shooting free throws.
And Adelaide are doing just enough offensively. They tightened up a little bit defensively here in the second half. The Kings' field goal percentage has come down this quarter. They're only down 10 with a chance to cut this lead to 8. They can put together consecutive stops, Brad. They can get this thing down to a 2-possession game going into the half. As Desh knocked down number 1.
Well, that's what CJ will be hoping. For him to go in at halftime and say, we went to Perth, we've come to Sydney, banner, the whole situation, the hype. We go in 8, 10, 6, whatever that may be down. We're in a good position here. Let's just tighten up in this little area, here, there. We're in this game.
We spoke about it earlier. Their third quarter on Friday night was a really good one, so something for them to build on, perhaps. Adams, great pass for 2. Denied by Galloway. Second effort, though, good enough to put it in.
And if Adelaide can play defense like that for the 40 minutes, that's what keeps them in games. They just have to keep going. Yeah, they scored, but it was a tough score to get down there, but then you get your set down the other end, get Jacob Wiley in a beautiful move going middle, and that's unstoppable for him.
Adams up top. The 4 field goal attempts for Jalen Adams in this first half, Brad.
It's another nice, he's feeling his way, and there's another nice pass there by Trey Kell.
Valentine tries to isolate on Cal. Bruce, what a pass inside for Adams. He's good enough to score too. They've got such great awareness of where each other are at all times.
And that's what is the difference sometimes in games, right there. Jack, I can watch Wiley all day. His energy and what he brings. I was speaking to Nick Popovich, the great strength and conditioner coach before, and I was asking him before the game, the history we've had with the Kings. Watch Jacob Wiley, Brad. He is fantastic on the court, but he is better off the court. What he brings and the energy that he lifts this team.
A late timeout called in the first half. Sydney leading 55-45, and Jalen Adams back in the building today at Kudos Bank Arena for the first time since winning the MVP 2 seasons ago. We caught up with him pre-season, and he spoke about his love of Sydney as a town and Sydney as a supporter group.
The environment, man, the love that you get shown just by the community. And then the fans, of course, the love and the front office, my teammates. So, you know, I think throughout the first half of the season, we wasn't even winning like that, and it still just felt like home. Like everybody still treated you the same. Everybody was straightforward and just showing support. So, you know, it's like as we started to win, it just started to grow, and it started to feel more and more like home. And the way they treated my family when they came for the playoffs, it's just always gonna have a special place in my heart.
When there was a stage, Brad, where Derek Walton Jr. took on the next part of his basketballing journey, and then Tim Suarez didn't come back, Xavier Cooks goes to the NBA. Things were just looking a little unstable for Sydney, but the signing of Jalen Adams, what did that do to the Kings supporter group?
Well, the first thing it said to him is we're serious and we're going for number 3.
Yeah.
And that was the main thing. And, you know, the Kings organisation knew they needed a bank. And there's nothing better than bringing back that MVP after losing an MVP in Xavier Cooks. But he is just such a pure player. And I don't want to say, you know, shooter, scorer, just a player. The way he's able to manipulate games. Like I look at the Tasmania game the other day, and he knew in that 3rd and 4th quarter, okay, it's my time. Where today, you've said he hasn't taken any shots because he knows we've got Quatnoi, we've got Denzel doing what they'll do. I'll get mine when I need to.
Hey, Trenton, go.
Shot clock switched off. I look to double team Adams. And Trenton Flowers, the teenage next star, has the job of stopping the former MVP. Tui marches inside. Flowers challenges him and fouls.
Well, I like the idea of doubling the ball because of the time left, but what I thought they did wrong there is they sent the wrong man out of the double, because then it was alternative like a switch, and now you had Jalen Adams who had a bigger on him, and then it was a matter of kick, and now you get a drive, and that's the communication breakdown. Instead of getting a good stop, they now go in with 2 free throws.
Jonah, be smart. Learn the bonus.
Good coaching. That's just saying, Jonah, that be smart, they're in the bonus. You don't need to crash the offensive rebounds over the back of someone, because that would be 2 free throws at the other end. Good coaching.
Free throws for Alex Tui. Years old out of Canberra. Debuted with Australia as a 17-year-old.
I love him. And I was listening, he broke his wrist when he made the national team as under-15s, and now owns CG43. Texted him and said, "You'll be fine, mate." I love that. And he still remembers that to this day.
CJ Bruton wants to use a timeout, draw something up.
Well, I like this because CJ is going to be in a situation where not only do we want this today, and it'll be nice to get a score going into half-time, but it's also, this might be for a possession down later on in the season that we need a win, and you could get that.
I wonder whether Trey Kell will be the man that they go to in this last play, Brad. We spoke about him pre-game, and he struggles from the field so far this season. Here are his numbers today. More positive, more fluent. 6 of 10, you can't argue with that.
Can't argue. So, to me, with 1.6 seconds, it's plenty of time. We know you can get a shot off in 0.3, 0.4 easily. So, yes, I would go to him, but then also Sydney will know that that could be the case. So, it's the counters that now count for CJ. Which way are we going to go? Is it Wiley flashing to the hoop? Is it Isaac Humphrey getting into the block with a turnaround? And that's what CJ's got to be able to draw up right now.
So as good as Sydney have looked, Adelaide are in the hunt as they head to half-time. Torrey Smith-Milner coming in. Is he going to play the role of the quarterback here?
Well, Wiley and Humphrey's off, so he's looking for something quick up and down the court right here with the team he's got on.
Cal turns the corner. The basket wouldn't have counted either. 57-48 at halftime. The Sydney Kings are leading over the Adelaide 36ers. It's been a pretty good contest so far.
Fantastic. If you're Kings, that's exactly what you want. You're nearly at 60 points and a half. Everything's rolling. But if you're 36ers, you know we're in the game. It's not a 20-point game that this could have easily got to.
Let's get over to Pete Hooley.
I'm with Denzel Valentine. Denzel, outstanding offensive half from the team. Defensively, probably not where you'd like to be. How'd you find the first 20 minutes?
I thought we played hard. We came out with good energy. We just got to fix some things up on the defensive end, and then we'll be fine.
You look a lot more assertive on the offensive end yourself. Was that a conscious effort coming into this one?
Yeah. I just wanted to get a feel, but now I'm comfortable, so I'm just trying to assert myself and be aggressive.
What are some of those keys on the defensive end in the second half to slow down Adelaide?
Say it again?
What are some of those keys in the second half to slow down Adelaide?
We just got to focus on the defensive end and keep sharing the ball on offensive end, and I think we'll be fine.
Thanks, mate. Good luck in the second half.
Yes, sir.
You can see how loud it is inside Kudos Bank Arena. The Kings lead it by 9 at the half. Sunday hoops here in the Hungry Jacks NBL.
I was trying to stay as calm as possible. For me, I just really wanted to enjoy it. Game 5 at home, 18,000+ there. If you can't get up for it, then you're probably playing the wrong sport.
Glover goes up and gets a big bucket for the Kings.
He's been unbelievable. A real defining moment for this young man. The Kings have really needed someone to step up. He's done it.
And guys, a big development down here. Angus Glover looks like he's got a problem with his sternum or his ribs. He's in a pretty painful situation right now.
What was happening was, what really caused me to hunch over was obviously the pain, but on top of that, my top ab was spasming. So I had to sit back down basically in a hunch position to breathe, really. Remember Chase asked if I can go, and I said yes, wincing, and he just sat there and laughed and chucked me out there.
Angus Glover in this huge moment, clearly less than 100%, Drew. He's back out there on the floor.
It is. This is courageous from Angus Glover to be out there and try and help his team win back-to-back championships.
With what I've been through, I was definitely not sitting out.
Big time moment for Glover.
Yeah, I'm going to say that the back ball was planned. No, it definitely wasn't.
Angus Glover, who's had to do everything the hard way in his basketball career, playing through all sorts of pain right now.
Unbelievable courage. This is a young man who has come back from 3 knee reconstructions. He's got a piece of his dad's hamstring in one of his knees to hold it together. And here he is in a grand final series, making massive play after massive play.
Here he is for 3. Huge! They've done it again. The Sydney Kings sit on their throne and rule over the NBL.
The memories that go through my head is all the tough times, to be honest, all the tears. Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years.
I mean, look at this place. It's rocking. Sorry for language.
Club, thanks for taking us home. I told you, like, you deserved more this year than you got, but you brought it with others too.
Love you, bro. Thank you.
Number 5, Angus Glover.
Mum and Dad have been through everything with me, and to have them there and my fiancée Kira there just shed a tear or two.
Australian sport has so many stories of players playing through pain, through adversity, and through duress to deliver for their team. That young man has written his name into the history books.
I think the crowd wants to hear one thing. Is there going to be a third anytime soon?
We're going for 3.
Welcome back to Kudos Bank Arena. We just saw there, it's half-time of this Sydney Kings Adelaide 36ers game, but Angus Glover last season, unbelievable in the championship series. In my opinion, maybe a little stiff, Ruck, not to win the grand final MVP. Derek White Jr. was outstanding, but how good was he in the big moments?
He was, and the thing about Angus is he's really improved his three-point shooting. Sometimes players don't have the awareness to understand where do I need to improve my game to impact the team? And Angus has learned quickly, and he's applied it to his game, and we saw how big a dividend it paid last March in winning the championship right here.
Huge part of that Sydney Kings bench that we're seeing once again today as we look through the Hungry Jacks highlights. It's Kouat Noi, instant offense off the bench. You talk about a guy who loves the big moments. Kouat Noi loves to talk the talk, but he also loves to walk the walk.
Well, he got a great setup right there from Jonah. Bolden was able to knock down his first stroke. Then the next possession, Pete, you know how this feels. Bang, bang, now I'm away and I'm ready to play. He finishes with 12 points in that first half in only 7 minutes. Tremendous productivity and usage for Kouat Noi.
We'll have a look at his Blackmore shot chart because, again, when he comes in, he's got one job. When he is open to let it fly, that must be a good feeling. So I don't know what that's like, right?
Well, look what he's getting good looks. I mean, anybody can step out there and knock those down. And if it wasn't for him cooling off a little bit, Pete, Adelaide would be in a lot more trouble than they currently are.
For sure, he got away with some open misses there for Adelaide's sake. Let's have a look at Denzel Valentine because it's taken him a couple of games to understand, I think, his role, not only in this team, but understand the NBL as well. As we have a look at some highlights, he looks much more assertive on the offensive end.
Certainly does, and I had some doubts. I thought he was maybe going to be one of these outstanding NBA players who comes over here and doesn't quite figure it out, but I was wrong. He figured it out quickly. 10 points, 3 boards, 4 dimes. That's what he can do. He can do all types of stuff around the court, and we know that he can line it up and really stroke it when he gets his feet set. Pete, he can be one of the preeminent two-way players in the competition.
I think he's just as important as Jalen Adams to this team's success.
Okay.
So looking forward to seeing how he goes to the rest of the NBL24 season. Huge 20 minutes coming up here. It's just a 9-point ball game. Defense a little bit, we don't know, but offense is flying. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Looking for a quick pit stop? Why not check into a time flies? They offer 3, 6, or 12-hour stays. Proud sponsors of the Bruce, Sean Bruce. The Sydney Kings would like to thank Great Big Events to deliver our fans an epic game day experience. GBE are behind the world's greatest sporting moments with tech innovations, creative content, and event production. GreatBigEvents.com.
Okay, Rob, let's give you a reminder. Harvey on the pom-poms.
That's right, at three-quarter time, you have your chance to win some good prizes, so get your pom-poms out. I think you have a little bit of a practice party.
That's right, and don't forget, ladies, with these pom-poms, bring them back. Next home game, next Sunday, every home game, and if Harvey not responds to you, you can win a gift. Giving back, we're giving away prizes. At three-quarter time, we're going to give away some massive prizes thanks to Harvey Norman. Let's have a practice. Show your pom-poms. Everybody, make some noise.
Y'all ready to win? Good practice. I think you're ready for this Harvey Norman giveaway. Yes, I think they're ready. Keep that pom-pom shaking. We need to get the energy right for the second half. Let's go. Hey!
Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that. Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that. Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that. Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that. Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that. Jordan ones across some funds, is that your man? He likes that.
Who's got the Jordan ones? Oh, you got the Jordan ones?
Jordan 4s or Jordan 1s, Rolex has got more than one. My AP costs 31, millimeters 41.
Sydney Kings on top, let's go!
The shorter one, he costs shorty one. In the club, the shortest one. Lighty, the shortest one. On my mind, Georgia one. Crocodile, I have water one. Vegan thing. Free, I got more than one. Daddy and daughter one.
We turn it back out, let's go!
Corbin one, Morgan one. Racing pair, wait, pair. Daughters one. I need a thing, 30 plus. Blackberry, woman one.
Say what, say what?
Just about ready to go for the third quarter at Kudos Bank Arena. Great crowd for Sunday hoops. This is going to be a pretty regular fixture for Sydney this year. They love the Sunday afternoon. It's the family-friendly environment, Brad Rosen, and fans have voted with their feet this afternoon.
Yeah, they have. They've come out, and obviously we had the ring ceremony prior, which was fantastic, but they're going to game here. Let's hope Adelaide can come out. They won that quarter, so that's a positive sign. They love the second quarter, 26-25. So for Adelaide, it's about getting stops and going.
What's the biggest positive for Adelaide? What would CJ Bruton be driving home to them at halftime, Brad?
Well, in theory, they could have been down by 20-25. They gave some situations there were wide open shots that could have dropped, and this thing could have got a lot better, or a lot bigger, I should say. So the positive is that, you know, it's been a tough couple of days. We know they're 0-3 and they're in the second half, but there's 20 minutes here that they can change their season right here and get a win.
Earlier today, it was Tasmania. Winners over Melbourne by 5 at John Cain Arena. Milton Doyle taking over late in the game. Isaac Humphries is fouled.
Shout out to Milton Doyle for guaranteeing an outstanding super coach round for Team DRB. I think I racked up 130 on Milton Doyle. I just checked there, Jack. I hope there's no glitch because it certainly triggered a dopamine release that I was very happy with. A true MVP candidate, Milton Doyle.
Totally. Yeah, he's in my super coach, but I didn't have him captain. Disappointing. I had Creaky.
You're not supposed to be checking your team while we're commentating, Brad.
It was halftime. Didn't you just say that you checked yours?
Yeah, but I was making the walk back up from the...
Oh, the hike.
Yeah, I was doing the walk. I might need security next time. I think some people were like, oh, a big lob up top from Valentine. And we were talking about that at halftime, how Valentine is really doing a great job with the basketball, figuring out a way to really help his teammates be better.
5th assist for him as well.
Caught a leg on the way through. Harvey Norman replay.
Well, that's on Trey Kell. Look at that. That's just not moving your feet quick enough. It really was a slip screen, and that's where Hunter comes out, looks like he's going to set, and then just go.
Sunday Dets had room to fire. It makes them pay.
Our partner Brad Rosen coming with the hard criticism and commentary. I like it. I like it.
Wiley in the open court. Oh! Coast to coast, Jacob Wiley. Boom. Wow.
That sent a silence through this building, Jack. Adelaide looking to make a push right here.
He had the runway all to himself. Nice pass for Cal, and Adelaide have started this third quarter very well. They're within 3.
Well, it's all from stops. They're getting their stops, and then they're able to run, and Jacob Wiley, that time going upstairs. But it's all coming from the defensive pressure, and we're just seeing what they did in Perth a couple of nights ago.
Hunter off the lob again. Manages to squeeze it in.
Jordy Hunter, a real problem on the rim. 10 points on perfect shooting, Jack. No one's ever upset about that.
Boy, he will be upset with that foul, though. That'll be his 3rd. Here's Jacob Wiley.
Hit. 2 shots.
The block first. That'll give Adelaide fans some good memories from the last time he played with them in the NBL.
It was from some distance as well.
Great use of his eyes to freeze Valentine at a critical moment. Then once he realized he had the timing right, once he got elevated, Brad, Hunter was in a bad position.
And isn't that now day and age? You know, we always said, Derek, you know, get the ball to the guard and go. No, not now. These 3-4 men, they're on the glass and away they go.
So true. I think I'd have some problems and some discussions if I was playing nowadays.
Both teams have left a few on the free throw line. Adelaide at 73%, Sydney to 61. And
the turnovers, Jack.
Valentine got it back, though, for the Kings.
Too early. When you haven't got your sets and you haven't got a couple of scores and Adelaide are making that run, I don't mind. I know he's got, you know, a number of points here and he's running with 10, but that's when you get your half-court set, Derek.
Momentum with Adelaide to start this third quarter, and Sunday Dets lays it up. It's 2 points the difference.
We're entering timeoutville zone, Brad. A stop and a bucket here, and we got to get a timeout for the Kings.
Jordy Hunter rolled to the basket, no foul. Adelaide comes streaming down the floor. Cal drives and dunks! Look out!
Adelaide feeling a resurgence, a third quarter lift coming straight out of the halftime break. Kell on the wing, give him a little crossover. Wow, Jack.
61 apiece. They very quickly wiped the 8-point deficit.
Well, I'm just watching Jacob Wiley here. He called for a substitution, something about his finger, and he has run off. And you look at the bench now, we'll get Pete Hooley onto that, but there's something going on down there.
An 11-4 start to this third term for the 36ers, who are still winless in NBL 24. taking it to the two-time defending champions. Adams blocked by Detch. Second time around scores.
Lucky, Brad.
Yeah,
Lucky.
I want to throw this to you. This is something that Tasmania did the other night to the Kings, and in my opinion, I thought Jalen Adams, as good as he is, I thought continued to bounce the ball too much, and whilst he was great, no one else got into the game. This is now what they need to do. Yes, they're up by 2.
A lot of times your greatest strength, and Jalen Adams we know is tremendous with the basketball. Great quickness, A to B. Laterally, he does a great job, but sometimes when you face duress like he's encountering right now, you want to go to your biggest strength, and that may not be the best recipe.
Let's get courtside over to Pete Hooley.
Yeah, guys, just an update on Wiley. Came off, and just a bit of a cut on his finger from the rim, obviously, when you throw down a big dunk, and we're losing some lights here. We're the gather.
Hey, Pete, be careful on your comments about Brisbane, my man.
Hey, man, when the lights go out, the lights go out. But, yeah, someone needs to pass the thing on to Jacob Wiley. You don't actually rip your finger open when you can only touch the bottom of the backboard. It's padded. You stay below the rim. You stay below the rim.
In the words of James Brayshaw at the Gabba, oh, no.
Can I just add, though, Jalen Adams hit that 3. How good can he shoot?
He's knocked that 3 out with the lights out.
And we still don't have full brightness, Jack.
We're at about 80%.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like your phone. The brightness isn't all the way up.
You did say his phone, though, didn't you?
Oh, man. Well, we got ourselves a little situation here. I mean, we could hoop like this. Let's roll.
Well, this has actually helped Adelaide because now Wiley's back on.
Pete Hooley, courtside. What's going on, Hooks?
Well, yeah, you're right. We still haven't got full lights here, which is interesting. It's going to be a turnover that it's play on. But you talked a little bit about Mahmoud potentially calling a timeout there when Adelaide went on their run. And I'm wondering if this is him just trying to figure out how his team responds in these situations. We keep talking about how they're probably going to be at their best later in the season. I'm intrigued at his mindset of thinking, OK, Adelaide's on this run. They've got the momentum. I'm holding my timeouts. What kind of players do I have who are going to respond to this challenge?
Identify the ball. Identify the ball.
I must say, it's a bit of a weird setting in here at Kudos Bank Arena at the moment.
What do you guys want to do?
Jack, I can't take too much more of this.
You need them on?
Let me check.
Derek, I'm putting you in this position. Down by 2, half-time, you're rolling. Are you Adelaide going, let's keep going, or
let's
do you
have a
want to
listen
stop?
here.
So some of the lights haven't come back on.
You good with that?
Are you good with continuing the game? Because I don't think it's actually going to affect what's going on. It's just some
It's more than that.
You okay with it?
Yep.
Righto, let's go.
I would be happy, Brad, to continue on. I would feel like in abnormal situations, I always felt as a player that was to my benefit.
Galloway for 3, but not now because he missed that. Where was the lights?
They are starting to come back, which is good, but it's a bizarre setting we've got right now.
They're kind of not quite flickering, but dimming in and out a little bit.
Wiley travels. What sort of percentage would you say that we're at right now with the lights?
Hold on. 73.7.
Yeah.
I was going to say 73.6, but no, I'll go with you.
Well, you're the electrician.
Yeah.
I was sort of asking you more than
Mercury Vapor lights, and they'll take 20 minutes to come on properly, but I didn't want to go there.
Hey, Jack, Brad was calling his Sunday specials to see if he could come out here and get a gig.
Yeah. I have my boys out the back to turn the power off.
Triple time Sunday invoice.
Well, here's an interesting sub. Jason Caddy's come on now. His minutes have been very minimal, and you picked it up earlier, Derek. He's been really good for them this year, so I'm not sure if there's an injury there, but it's been minimal today.
Well, he had that finger injury up at the Blitz, and I wonder if perhaps that's flared up. Maybe Peter can find... Uh-oh, I called him Peter. Maybe Pete can find out what's happening.
Is he in trouble?
Absolutely,
yeah,
guys.
well,
It's significantly dimmer here, you're right. And I just spoke to the lighting crew, and they said it's 15 to 20 minutes until they're back to full strength. So by the end of this game, they're going to be right. And it's going to be interesting because it's definitely a lot darker than when the game started. Now, I don't know the reason for why they went out, but I do see a burrito sitting on top of the lighting switches. So I'm not saying a burrito caused these lights to go out, but I'm also not saying that it didn't cause the lights to go out.
Hey, Pete, would by chance they have some type of percentage indicator like on your phone? Because Brad and I have a little bet up here.
It is. I'm just sitting down here. I mean, it's a different lighting completely. And I guess CJ Bruton was initially saying so it looks darker down the Adelaide end compared to the way Sydney's facing, but they both want to continue to play. And it'll be interesting to see how the fourth quarter goes because everyone's talking about it right now in the crowd and for good reason.
Still shaking my head at what happened. So
that you can get the catch and shoot three.
Detch makes the first.
We've got ourselves a game here, Jack. And CJ, this is a big test for him and his team. They've been knocking on the door. They've been in situations in which they could have closed teams out. This would be a tremendous scout and send the Kings on a little bit of a spiral in round 2.
Alex Tui, just the 5 points this afternoon. Glover, nice pass for Noy, had his feet set. It was hot early and it's gone a little cold since then. Sunday, Detch on the move. Takes contact and Adelaide will be on the line to tie it up.
But Jack, when he went to elevate, he did not get the pop off that left foot that he was anticipating. And that looked scary there for a moment, Brad.
Yeah, it did. That left knee, and when no one's around, you always worry about that. As Sydney called timeout, it looks like they're going to challenge this. Coach Mahmoud, he was not happy with the call at all.
Yeah, he's very animated with this call. Mahmoud Abdel Fattah.
Derek, we're seeing Mitch McCarron there, and there's a lot of talk about Mitch. Is he being too assertive, not enough assertive? You look at today's game, and you know there hasn't been a lot of shots that he's taken. Your thoughts on his season so far?
So I'm going to throw it back to the final game of the Blitz, and I thought, if we look at the challenge here, I thought Mitch McCarron's final game at the Blitz was a pretty good idea of how he needs to play, and that's a nasty and awkward-looking play.
I think they're going to win that, the Kings. I could not see a hit there.
Watch the ankle turn here, guys. Whoa.
Yeah. Ford Mabry's our senior official this afternoon.
The coach's challenge is successful. The call on the ball is cancelled. We have a jump ball in the centre circle.
Good challenge.
Very good challenge. And I actually think that the referee was somewhat fooled because of the ankle tweak. And it looked like there was more contact when it was just Sunday's body reacting abnormally. And that's a let-off there for the Sydney Kings to come away in a 2-on-1 situation defensively.
Talk about pressure for coaches. What about the assistant coach that has to sit behind and tell the head coach whether you should challenge that? That is the hardest job, I reckon. Think of some of your coach, Gordy McLeod. What would he be like telling you, like, to his assistant?
Frantic. Frantic, absolutely frantic, and then be killing them the next day. Like, I think your margin for error is so small, the expectations are high because you're expected to look at what you see, interpret it correctly, and give the right advice.
We always talk about it a lot, and we certainly did last year, about the player rankings, about who are the senior players in teams who can call for a challenge versus the junior burgers who the coach might just say, okay, look, thanks for your feedback.
So like Derek Rucker, Brad Rosen. Is that what you're saying? Is that how you, that's right. Okay.
And then even lower down is me. Like, yeah. Jason Kadee back on the floor. Trey Kell, Kadee, McCarron, Galloway, Wiley for the 36ers, Adams, Glover, Noy, Tui and Bolden for the Kings.
Well, Derek, you spoke about it. Adelaide in the first half, they just have to get down and stop your man. Well, that's the same case there. Quat Noy just came out, and he was able to walk around him way too easy.
That's so true, Brad. And another awkward drive here when Kell tries to get, looked like he wanted to go into a modified Euro. Looks like his left knee or ankle collapsed also. He didn't get the push And sometimes you get these types of injuries when you're just not physically ready. And there's no doubt at the moment, some of these guys for Adelaide just don't have the match miles under their belt.
Trey Kell, one of them. Derek, we didn't see him at the Blitz on the Gold Coast with a calf issue.
One shot.
Good productivity today, Jack. 21 points.
So the lights still not at full brightness yet. As Pete said, we've been told it's about 15, 20 minutes before they'll be back to full capacity. But we are getting there. It hasn't stopped the players and it hasn't stopped the fans here at Kudos Bank Arena. Bolden draws the whistle.
Well, that's good offense. Half-court set. Was able to get the ball in and good offensive rebound by Jonah Bolden.
Let's get over to Pete Hooley. He's courtside.
Do have an update on Lightgate, guys. We're over here. There's about 30 switches and buttons that control all the lights, but just one is the major one that controls absolutely everything, and it looks like one of them might have been bumped by a headset or accidentally. They should be up full strength by the fourth quarter.
I think that headset needs to go in a little bit different position.
Let's have a look at Jason Kadee. He's got caught up with the finger. Yeah.
And offensive rebounding, as you know, Brad, is in the Bolden DNA.
Oh, yeah.
And you would think that's an area where Jonah can really impact this team while his skills start to come back during the course of the season. Right now, we may not expect the finer parts of his game to be right, but that type of stuff, rebounding, getting up and down the floor, he should be 100% with all that.
Look, couldn't agree. He took a couple of years out, as we all know. The thing with Jonah now is he's in a good space. As Trey Kell misses that. But he's in a great space, and they're the little things he'll just do every day. And then I say for him is a little bit like the Sydney Kings. I don't think we're going to see him until January, the right of him.
Glover wide open for three. 1 of 6 this afternoon from outside, Angus Glover. Last season, shot the three ball at 43%. It's having a tough afternoon. Jacob Wiley, on the other hand, is having a very productive afternoon.
Very productive, and now you're starting to hear some murmurs through the crowd as the PA announcer tries to lift this crowd. We talked about the emotional letdowns and how difficult sometimes it is to play on banner day. Sean Bruce knocks down a little runner in the lane. Much relief provided there.
Wiley on the move to the cup once more. Nice body use by Humphries. He's giving them some problems underneath, and Adelaide continue to win the rebound count, which has been a problem for them this year so far.
Well, it suits them the way this game's going at the moment. It suits Adelaide 36ers to a T. Why? Because there's no up and down game here. We're not in a race like we were in that first half where the Kings were off and running. Adelaide are playing to their strength. They're getting ball in good hands, making good decisions, and more importantly, getting good stops.
Brad Rosen, Derek Rucker, Pete Hooley, Jack Heverin inside Kudos Bank Arena for the Kings' first home game of the season and the final game of round 2.
Brad, we saw a shootout yesterday between the Hawks and the Phoenix. We've got another one here, even though the shooting percentages have come down slightly since the first quarter. The raw numbers, woo, are going to be up around 150 after three-quarter time.
And what was interesting last night, because I was there, T-Ruck, is the fact that Illawarra were able to get over in the end by having a number of bodies and just keep going in that fourth on the back of Phoenix in a second game. Adelaide in that second game today.
Bolden lets it fly. Adelaide stream down the floor to take the lead for the first time in a long time. The last time they led, the score was 4-3. Hunter wins it back for the Kings. 2.5 minutes before three-quarter time. Bruce blocked. Humphries got a piece of it, and Hunter all alone, I should say.
Derek, I'm watching Adelaide, and there's so many, do you play in that drops or whatever you do defensively? I'd like to see him double the ball hard. I just feel that with the Kings, when they come off that, they have a bit too much room to move. And if you are able to double that hard, make another decision for them to make.
Wiley wraps it around and levels it up back again.
Is that too much of a gamble right now?
No, it isn't. And I think teams need to be equipped better to handle different schemes against the PNR. You know, given a constant dose of anything.
Hunter. And one.
Great finish there, but Brad, to finish my point, a constant dose of anything repeatedly can be easy to play against. I mean, Jack knows he has steak and prawns every night. On the fourth night, it gets old, doesn't it, Jack? Go for some ramen noodles or something. Sorry.
What crazy are you spinning? Well, Geordie Hunter starting to have a big impact now. 14 points, 7 of 8 from the field, has 5 rebounds as well.
And he's another one of those local bigs. Tyrell Harrison, Isaac Humphreys, Geordie Hunter. All these guys show such tremendous talent and can do so much for their teams, but they've all been cursed by injuries over the past 4 to 5 seasons, and we haven't seen their full blossoming yet.
Trey Cal has 21 from deep. Rattles out. Sunday Detch in the right place at the right time, as is McCarron. Wiley down the lane. Hunter went up and challenged, and they do have their coach's challenge still available, Sydney. They were successful a few minutes ago.
Well, I'm watching Hunter. He's gone straight up to the coach and said, no way. He's pleading with the assistants at the back there saying, let's go.
That's a foul. I don't know what he's talking about. But check this out. The late whistle, Brad, just kills you every time. You think you're going to be off to the races. You hear that late whistle. It's the worst whistle in basketball. The right whistle in this case.
What an energy this guy's bringing this team. He just doesn't matter what stage of the game, and unfortunately misses this one. And have we got burgers for the first time today in Sydney? But his energy has been tremendous.
I've never redeemed one of these burger deals, Jack, with Hungry Jacks, Jack. But here we go. On my way to SYD today, I will be hitting it up. Go for it, Jack.
Download the NBL app now. Valentine bombs away. Burgers and trees. What a time to be alive. Sydney all of a sudden have got the lights back and they've got the energy back.
Big possessions right there. 2 crucial missed free throws. And we look at the Harvey Norman replay. Glover clumsily gets it over to Valentine. Today is his day. Knocking down the 3 ball. Kings up by 6. Energy back in the house.
Well, just a miscommunication there on the defensive end allows that big 3.
You can download the NBL app now and click on the Hungry Jacks banner, enter the code word, jump into your nearest Hungry Jacks before 6 o'clock tomorrow to get your free cheeseburger, which for you, Derek, is on the way back to the airport tonight.
It is. I'm on the 9 o'clock or something, so I know exactly where a Hungry Jacks is. I'm telling Mr. Silver Service cab driver, make a quick little stop. Oh, he can get one too, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Tell him
Jack can make a call for us.
Tell him Gazy sent him. Yeah, why not? Good couple of minutes for the Kings, Brad.
Yeah.
Just to try and, as we say, get a bit of energy back in the building and get a bit of energy back in their own play.
Well, we saw the lights go out, and also the energy in the gym has gone out as well, because Adelaide have made a great fight this quarter. But they just needed that little lift, and that 3 moving couple of missed free throws, which were huge, is just being able to lift this, and you can feel the energy getting back up now.
And both teams not getting it done from the free throw line. Adelaide doing a great job of getting there. They've shot 27 free throws in less than 3 quarters, but only converting at every 2 out of 3. You know, if they get up to a decent amount, this game looks different.
Last minute of the third quarter. Sydney go on a little run and score the last 6.
White ball.
Galloway stepped out of bounds.
Sixers get a break there because that possession was going nowhere. McCarron got sloppy and loose with it in the paint. And essentially they get a new shot clock as a result.
Sydney 1 win, 1 loss to start the season. Adelaide 0 and 3.
And actually reset that to 14, Jack.
Humphreys takes it straight at Galloway. Just did enough defensively. And Isaac reaching in is whistled for the foul, which should be his 4th.
Yeah, that's the foul. Like, and you could see it in his frustration when as soon as he fouled, he knew, and that's the leadership that he needs to be able to say, I need to stay in the game here. But now he's got to sit, and we probably won't see him until a good few minutes left in the game.
Here he's sitting down. Isaac Humphreys now 4 fouls. 7 and 6 is his afternoon. Sean Bruce happy to wind the clock down. That's at single figures, and he's got room. That's a lob. McCarron quickly looking for the 2 for 1.
Great play, high intelligence, extremely aware of his circumstances. Big play by McCarron. Sixers need a stop here, Jack.
Well, that was also clever by Glover. He let the ball stay in the baseline there and didn't pick it up, so he knew we can get the last shot.
Shot clock and game clock almost in unison. Valentine throws it away, as does Cal. Great work from Galloway. Now Valentine at the buzzer. It sets up for a big, big final quarter in front of a big crowd here at Kudos Bank Arena. The Sydney Kings leading 75-72. 4th quarter is coming up next in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Well, it was a 3rd quarter that had a little bit of everything at Kudos Bank Arena. The Adelaide 36ers were down by 9 at the half and came charging back into contention, and then the lights went out. You just never know what you're going to get here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. It's 3 points the difference at three-quarter time. Brad Rose and Derek Rucker and Jack Heverin. We've got Pete Hooley courtside as well. What a weird quarter.
It is, and I think what we need to know now is what did Adelaide learn from the other night in Perth, where they had that very good third quarter, but then the fourth they weren't able to get over the line. Let's see what they've learned.
And with the Kings not having played a lot of basketball, as Hunter goes and gets his thing thrown off the glass, it's a real chance for Adelaide to get good looks off of patient offense, unlike that possession right there.
What a synergy to Friday night for Adelaide. They were down and won the third quarter by 9. Got themselves back into contention against Perth. Some free throws for Hunter. Official saying that he was in the act of beginning his shooting motion.
And that subjective call has changed tremendously over the past 7 to 10 years. They were very strict for many decades on that in-between, whether you're passing or shooting, and then the rule was relaxed several years ago, where the benefit of the doubt seems to go towards putting that guy on the free throw line.
I like that too.
One shot. That's now 16 points for Geordie Hunter. Pete Hooley courtside.
Eric Cooks received Xavier Cooks' ring in the pre-game. We like to give some love to the parents, and so much so that Kylie Galloway, the mother of both Kyron and Jalen, has flown in to watch her boys play against each other. Very special time with extremely exciting futures for both of them, but she'd be very much enjoying them. They've lined up each other a couple of times in a few box outs, a little bit extra push and shove, but that's what you expect from a couple of boys growing up.
That'll be a Sydney ball.
Well, that might be a longer flight the way Jalen's going over to the USA, the way he is playing at the moment.
I think I'm right in saying that Mrs. Galloway was a baller back in the day too. I think she played,
I believe so,
college
yes.
basketball.
Either side.
Man, come on. Adelaide had 2 bad possessions and weren't able to capitalize right there on a loose ball. It would have put them out on the break. Kings up 5 early in the fourth quarter.
Not just any baller. I've checked my notes. Mrs. Galloway won the MVP for Townsville in 2001. I want to say, Derek Rucker.
Nothing wrong with winning MVP every now and then.
Is that right, is it?
No, I just heard about it.
It's in your bio.
I just heard about it.
Kings by 5.
There we go. Just move the ball a little bit.
He's deep from 2. He forces Wiley to kick it back out.
Fine. That's fine.
Yep.
Get a shot at the rim. Make the team play defense. That's fine. It's the senseless, lack of purpose possessions that lead to losses, Brad.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that Adelaide, we know they have another import spot to do. That's the one thing I think they're missing. Just that, here's the ball, we need a score.
Adams for 3. He has been a little quiet, but we know he's got a history in fourth quarters.
And if he gets it cooking, Jack, in this fourth quarter, Adelaide don't have anyone that can match up on him.
The turnovers are now a big problem for the 36ers. Great D from McCarron. Forced Valentine into the wrong decision. Wiley to the cup. 6-point game.
Huge 4-point swing. That is something. Great job by McCarron. He reads that so well. That is something he has done throughout his whole career.
Adams responds, as only Jalen Adams can. Timeout Adelaide. CJ Bruton consents that the former MVP is starting to cook. 83-74 at Kudos Bank Arena. So a 9-point lead now for the home team. Smart timeout from CJ Bruton.
Absolutely. He knows what Jalen Adams can do. We saw it all 2 seasons ago, and he did this in Tasmania the other night as well, where he tried to take, well, he did take over, but we saw there Tasmania were able to stop that. It'll be interesting to see what CJ does now.
And Jack, you were right. He has been relatively quiet, but look at the standard we set for him. He actually has 16 points. He's got 5 assists. Been very efficient out there on the floor, and now is his time. He understands critical possessions, critical playmaking.
If I'm CJ, I am doubling every time he has the ball. Just get it out of his hands and make someone else beat you.
Hey, next time I put that ball, we're going to pitch up punch. That's what game with myself. Guys, got it?
Out of the snooze timeout, Sydney lead 83-74. The Harvey Norman replay shows us that the MVP, Jalen Adams, back in front of his home crowd this afternoon for the first time in a couple of years, is starting to get going.
And not terrible defense, Brad, but certainly not the level of care that you need on a player of Jalen Adams' caliber. You can't give him any space, and both times the bigs just didn't show enough attention to him and stick with him long enough to ensure there was little gap.
I hear you talk about it all the time. Know your scout. That's the scout. Know what he does.
Time for the Adelaide 36ers to dig deep. Basket won't count.
Great athleticism and agility from Humphries. I didn't think he could get to that ball. Not only did he get to it, he drew a foul and did a bit of self-preservation in the process. Big offensive rebound there for the Sixers.
And it's a good point you make. It's been well-renowned about injury prone. That's telling us that he's healthy if he's going after that, which is great news.
Sunday Detch from outside. Humphries, monster.
But Jack, that's what I'm talking about. That's a terrible shot from Sunday. He can't take that shot. That's inbound 1-2 pass. Let me do my thing from 3 and shoot it contested with the guy in my face. And I'm not even a proven effective three-point shooter. It's bad basketball. You're going to lose. You keep doing that, you lose.
Unfortunately for Adelaide, that can happen. They can tend to go into a bit of self-preservation mode and just play 5-out basketball.
Well, you know, if you want to win basketball games, you got to come together as a group and establish some rules and some protocols on how we're going to get wins and when we're going to shoot the ball from the 3. As we touched on, they're 25% from the 3. Today, they're actually shooting it well at 35% for them, so maybe he felt he was on a burner.
Also returning,
7 points the difference. Earlier this afternoon, the Tasmania JackJumpers gave everyone something to think about, beating Melbourne United on their home floor, 80-75. The Milton Doyle, Jordan Crawford combination is looking very, very good for the JJs.
They're the best team in the competition early on. Like our great friend Andrew Gay says, small sample size. But I think they're there for the long haul, Jack.
16 points for Adams. Throws a fierce ball inside. Now Glover finds Bolden. Basket will be waved away, though. Let's get over to Pete Hooley, courtside.
Good question for you, Russ and Brad. That last play down the floor, Denzel Valentine picked up his 4th foul. So that's 4 on Valentine, 4 on Adams, and Jordan Hunter just checked out with 4 fouls. I'm wondering, would you sit one of Valentine and Adams just for a couple of minutes in case the other one gets fouled out? Because these are crucial minutes right now on the home court.
Yeah, look, I agree with you totally, Pete, but right now I think they're in a position where they can take this game. So I think coach is saying this is the time right now. He can feel it, but it is that gamble, like you say.
Humphries lost the ball. Great hustle from Glover. He relocates to the corner. It drops. It doesn't matter how, it just says 3 on the sheet.
Timely 3-ball from the lefty. Corner pocket, all types of love from the rim. Kings up by 10. Here comes a run.
Adams tries to hurt them, can't. Glover on the offensive glass. We'll give the Kings a second look at things. This time, Galloway. Nothing but net. 13-point lead of the home team.
It's the one percenters. Adelaide are just dropping off on those little one percenters, whether it be the offensive end, the ball's rolling, but the Sydney Kings, this is what they do well. 13-point game. This is going to be hard to come back now, Derek.
You mentioned it, that they might run out of legs, Adelaide, and they certainly have. Whether it's legs, intent, whatever the case, they're in strife.
Well, they did that well, at least to get it inside to Isaac, to be able to slow this game down. They need to get back to that possession because the Kings are trying to push it up the court more.
They've had their chances in this fourth quarter, Adelaide. They've had a lot of misses from close range.
Which could be slightly frustrating for a 36ers fan because they might be like, yo, where's the import? If they had another body, Brad, perhaps they handle their business in Perth. Perhaps instead of being down 12, they're up 3 right now.
Yeah.
You know, and you hear a lot of whispers about what's going on down there, but, you know, they are running undermanned, but it's hard to evaluate a coach when he doesn't have a full set of tools.
Well, you know, I listened to Melbourne United at the beginning of the year when you guys were up at the Blitz at the beginning of the season, and they were saying it was really important for us to get, as Galloway sets up for the 3 and hits another one back-to-back. But Melbourne United, like, we don't want to start like we did last year. We want to get that good lead so we're not chasing. To be an import down and potentially 0-4, it's a long way back.
So do you think there was some discussion that they needed a point guard? We'll get back to that in a second. Valentine in the open floor. The party can start now for the Kings. The lead is 16.
Sloppy offensive execution. It really started in the first possession of this quarter, Brad.
Yep.
They didn't go out there with the proper mindset, and things have unraveled big time.
Cal answers back. Pete Hawley, courtside.
Guys, you're talking about that third import for Adelaide. I spoke to some Adelaide people before this game, and they basically said that we see the guys are gassed, and we see how they're in the last couple of games with a chance to win. They're that one piece away. That they play Illawarra next week, and it is a must at this last piece of the puzzle, must arrive before that to kind of help take that pressure off the scoreboard. They've managed to hit the 80s right now, but you can tell they're just gassed. They're running on tired legs right now, especially in this fourth quarter, which I'm thankful that Damon Lowry's not commentating because he doesn't believe gassed is a thing in a 40-minute game, but not all of us run 50 kilometres for breakfast every morning.
So there's been a lot of discussion about the type of player that they need. They thought they needed a point guard to start with. The thinking perhaps now is more a 3-4 type. What do you think they need?
Well, I think they're probably looking. There are a couple of local pieces out there. And I still maintain that I don't understand why Daniel Johnson has not been pursued, asked to come in right now. There is a void there that DJ can fill. I don't care if you wanted to get rid of him and now you feel like you might be losing face by bringing him back. The objective is to win basketball games and provide the best standard possible for your city. Daniel Johnson sitting there, bring him in. Then you start looking at the import situation. I think if you don't go with the Daniel Johnson, then you can go with a 3-4. It's a tough one, but at 0-5, you start looking at your resources and wondering, is it worth it?
The thing I struggle with, as that's a nice little finish there from Galloway, the thing I struggle with is they came into this season going, we need that one, and they went with Flowers, and it didn't work, so they've moved him. So I'm thinking, you had Mitch McCarron, you had Jason Kadee coming off the bench, so why has something changed so much now that we don't need that one man? To me, I think that's what they need, with the scoring, to be able to go and do that Jalen Adams things that he's done, and we've seen, you know, other imports throughout this league go and get it done.
96-83 at Kudos Bank Arena. A crowd of more than 14,000 in the house today.
Jack, I also want to mention, and unfortunately I go back to a season that I was with, we went through 8 imports in the season. Wow. 8 imports in one season. And one of the things you can say, okay, we get rid of an import and bring another one in. that one just doesn't come in and change everything. All of a sudden, oh wow, now we go on a 15-game winning streak. You know, it doesn't. It's very rare. I think it did happen many years ago with Marcus Timmins. I think with Melbourne. 16 in a row. Right. So that is rare in this league now. So to be able to bring an import in and then all of a sudden everything's. He's got to get into this team. He's got to get feeling around. I mean, Derek, you can talk as an import. It's not easy. You've got to know your teammates.
Look here, there's a situation developing with Southeast Melbourne where a decision must be made. Obviously, they're going to bring Sauce Williams in. Is it worth waiting around for Cook pending his recovery from this injury, Jack? Now, we know Oganulich has reported that Tyler Cook is looking at a big deal over in Europe, and this was always a short-term thing. But if Adelaide can make an offer to him, he's already here, go overs, keep him here in Adelaide, he'd be a perfect fit.
Might be something for the 36ers to think about. Denzel Valentine's given them plenty to think about this afternoon. 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting. He's had 5 assists to go with it, 3 rebounds as well. Brad, you highlighted him pre-game. You said there's no need to panic yet. He's feeling his way through. Have you liked what you've seen today?
Absolutely. I had a good chat with him before the game, and he just felt so loose out there. And I think the thing that he's been feeling comfortable is his assists and defense and rebounding has been good. It's just his shot's not dropping. He's a pro. He knows what I can do, right? He's like, I got no worries here. And today, obviously, he is playing what everyone expected him to be able to bring. And with him and Jalen Adams, this thing's looking good.
And I like the fact that he's trying to stick to the structure because that sets a good example for everyone else and allows your local players a level of composure and poise, knowing that your import isn't coming in here trying to take over the game. And I think the way he's playing is perfect because they do have an MVP sitting right next to him who we've seen can change a game in a couple of minutes.
The Kings will play Brisbane on Friday night at Nissan Arena. You'll be there, Dee?
Yeah, I'll be there, Jack. Still emotionally rattled after yesterday's game.
Well, that's going to be a big week for Brisbane as well, with what's going to happen.
Well, it's a massive week for Brisbane. It's also a massive week for the Kings, Brad, because they have Friday night. Nissan Arena's a tough place to win, as we know. They're back here next Sunday and they play the Perth Wildcats.
Yeah, it's going to be a
huge weekend.
Like that. What Saar is doing for Perth, oh my. Those couple of threes that he hit late in that game. I love what John Riley's doing over there and the way that they're playing, and Bryce is doing his Bryce things. But yeah, you're right, they've got to take care of business in Brisbane, and it'll be interesting to see what way that goes, and more importantly, Derek, you're on the ground there a lot as well, how they cope with it internally.
Well, Brad, you know, we talk about after losses. Now, let's just look without an incident like we saw last night. We're just talking about a regulation loss. There's that awkwardness and that discomfort when you all assemble together for the first time. You got to go eye to eye with each other, and I think that's vital.
Video sessions.
That guys get back together as soon as possible. And if there's any shame, awkwardness, or whatever, you got to work it out. And the quicker you can do that and get through some type of therapeutic resolve, you can get back to playing good basketball, which they were doing, Jack.
More on the Aaron Baines situation across the week, of course, NBL.com.au. He's taken by Trey Kell.
Well, we talk about the coach and Justin Schiller in his rookie season as a coach, but from all accounts, doing a tremendous job. This is his first big test now with how he's going to have to get that group together.
Jordy comes right back in. Also returning for the Kings, Jalen Adams.
And it's that interesting period in the game, Brad. 12-point lead. It's not over, but it kind of is. But if a couple plays go crazy and Adelaide go whack, whack, and we got ourselves a game. Pressure up the court.
Well, Trey Kell, 28 points, 10 of 17 from the field. He's had a good game today.
The Kings didn't beat the trap, so the first thing for Adelaide to do was force a stop.
And I don't know why teams don't do more of this earlier in the game. You know, you see how disruptive it can become at times. Throw it in there for a couple of possessions, Brad. After a made free throw, throw a zone trap, three-quarter court trap. Full court man-to-man, drop back into a zone. Everyone's so conservative defensively and so cookie cutter.
Yeah, it's so, I mean, you mentioned even in, you know, baseline out of bounds or something, go to the zone, do it on 2 passes. See, just junk it up, as we used to say.
Sydney have got all of their numbers ahead. And Glover with the jet.
Wow. Not one Adelaide person was back as they put that ball up there. That looks like a tired ball club.
They've got the 100 up, the Sydney Kings. Make that 102. Kawhi wants to cash in late.
Well, it's that time of the game, Jack. If you've had a good game, get some lazy stats here, and it can suddenly look like a great game.
Pump those Supercoach numbers up.
Speaking of which...
I won't be looking at my phone for Supercoach. I got told off a little bit earlier there by one Derek Rucker.
Geordie Hunter fouled and won. 21 points now for Hunter with one extra to come.
And he's been great all night. And Derek, you picked it up earlier. That's the lift he can give them. He's just able to finish around the rim. You said 21 points, 8 of 10. 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Just everything you want. His rebounding is great. 8 in total. No turnovers. Couple of steals, couple of blocks. Great minutes.
This Kings progression in this NBL season, especially early, can be expedited if Geordie's going to come to the party with these types of games. Because in no way, Brad, did I expect Geordie Hunter to come up with 21 points. 22 points on 8 of 10 shooting.
Sort of turnaround jump shot and finish.
Speaking, there's a timeout by the Kings, and you speak of the Kings. Jordan Hunter, he's very educated basketballer. Comes from the St. Mary's. He actually is an amazing writer. Like, he writes books, and he's that extremely educated, and it's not a shock that he does everything at a high rate.
Jacob Rigoni with his first points here in the NBL. A minute 18 left. Looks like Jasper Rentoy will check in as well for the Sydney Kings. So both teams going to their bench. Here is what's coming up for round 3. There's no such thing as an easy game here in the Hungry Jacks NBL. Round 3 starts on Thursday night. The JackJumpers and the Illawarra Hawks. All of a sudden now, the JJs are the form team of the competition. We've spoken about Friday night in the first game. Take a look at the second game. Perth hosting Melbourne United on a Friday night doubleheader.
That's a great one right there, Jack. And boy, don't I love going home after covering a Bullets game, having a nice steak and watching the Wildcats live from the RAC. But a great lineup the next day also. Sixers, Hawks. Sixers can possibly get off that winless mark, Brad. And the round ends with a big one Sunday. Right here. Kings, Wildcats. They don't like each other, Brad.
Oh, no. And that dates back to a grand final series that...
We don't talk about that one, Brad.
Yeah, that's a sore point, that one. Rentoy. Little pump of the fist as well. He's happy with it, the youngster. His first season here in the NBL.
Good young kid from the local association. Got his family here watching as well. They would absolutely be loving it.
Saw him give a little wave to his family, which is great. Flowers cannons in, and that'll be an offensive foul.
Who's ball? In for the Kings, number 11, Clarence Lee.
A lot of points on the board by the Sydney Kings, 107. They shot a really good clip. 48 from the field, 39 from the 3, only 9 turnovers with 11 steals. And most importantly, Brad, 26 assists on 38 made field goals. Just a tremendous team effort to open the season. And everyone in the organization could take a lot of confidence out of this performance. I thought Adelaide put up a good fight, Jack.
Yep. Yeah, they were in the hunt on Friday night. They were in the hunt again today. Flowers off the inbound. What a play from McCarron and the leap from Trenton Flowers.
Well, that's the next star going not only upstairs to another level. That athleticism is fantastic.
The ability to sit on the bum for 2 hours and come off and get an alley-oop like that is unbelievable. Oh, to be 18.
Rigoni, top of the key. Here's another look at it.
If you're with them and you're able, rise up. Let's get up for
Oh, it was a great back screen. Watch this here. Nice little hit. And look at, oh my God, he's looking down in the rim. Wow. I remember those days on an 8-foot ring. Oh, they were fantastic.
And another good hustle play there from Flowers. Got a deflection, then tapped it back to a teammate for a little layup.
Zach Katorna comes in. He scores, everyone falls over.
Even again, Flowers went to go and get that block. The athleticism in him.
All over right here. You all came out for it.
We look for Trenton Flowers for three. It's long and McCarron takes the bump with the left hand.
That is not easy to do. He got the head, but be able to have it in the right, finish with the left. I know the game's over, but still, that's a nice finish.
You know, Brad, I don't think there's much shame in this loss from the 36ers. At least CJ sees some life. Defensively, they have some issues. But they got a performance from Trey Kell III that they desperately needed. Humphries has maintained a decent level of play. Going back home now, they can try and settle down and get themselves their first win. And if you're a Kings fan, solid optimism.
Absolutely, but with Adelaide, oh, here they go again, or they tried to throw it up. But with Adelaide, that will be the game. I can imagine it is going to be packed at their next home game.
Kings win it by 9 today, at home for the first time this season. Big crowd, big atmosphere, big performance by the Sydney Kings. 109 to 100, they get the job done.
It's always tough to come back and play on championship celebration day, but the Kings did it effectively. As I just mentioned before, a healthy level of optimism should exist in this franchise and in this fan base. Brad, you're right here. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, look, I thought the Sydney Kings did what they needed to do. They've still got those pieces, and I go back to what you said. We probably won't see the best of them until January, but they're chalking up the wins, and that's the important thing. For Adelaide, they still got 100 points.
Right.
Without an import, they're coming on their second game, come from Perth, where they only just lost as well. There is a lot of positiveness, but the problem is you're 0-4, and you said it before. How long do we leave it until we pull that trigger?
The Kings have still got DJ Hogue to come back into this team. Still missing for a week or two with a shoulder complaint. Bounce back hard after losing on Friday night to Tasmania. The 36ers, winless so far this season. They walk off the court. Some things that they can take away, as Derek and Brad said, from a positive point of view, but it's all about the Kings. They win by 9, and Pete Hooley's got our Footlocker player of the game.
Well, here with Geordie Hunter, our Footlocker player of the game. Geordie, a back-and-forth battle with the 36ers. Good way to respond after the loss the other night. How'd you take it?
Yeah, it was great that we stayed with it. We probably let them hang around a bit longer than we wanted to, but when it counted, we put some distance between us, and we're happy it ended our way.
Talk to me a bit about this crowd. Last time you played here, you were winning a title, unveil the banner. It's unbelievable.
You still feel it in the air. It was nice. Maybe it's a ring ceremony, but it was great to have all these fans in the building, and we can really feel them. It's just magic.
Now, lastly, you're an honest man, and I know that you went over and wanted that challenge. Did you honestly think you didn't foul in that block attempt?
Oh, I don't know. It looked good, though, right? It was a complete foul, or what do you...
It was a massive foul, but it looks good on Instagram anyway.
Thank you very much.
Great game, mate.
Thanks, Pete.
Geordie Hunter is our Foot Locker player of the game. He wins a $250 shoe voucher with thanks to Foot Locker, taking the opportunity to play starters minutes and relishing.
He certainly did, and I think Kings fans, if you watch this team closely, he has shown this ability at signs. But this year, with the composition of this team, he is going to get ample opportunity to show that he can deliver consistently and be a focal point in a championship contending team, Brad.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's had this all the time. St Mary's product, knows his game really well. I think we're going to see some good things from him this season.
Now the Kings win today in front of more than 14,000 people. 109 to 100 is the final score here at Kudos Bank Arena. We're back to wrap it up on the other side of this.
Come on, it's like a shoey. We could put something in there, but we're just waiting for later in the season for that. Listen, talk to us a little bit about, we had the ring ceremony earlier, the banner came down. What emotions are going through you?
The videos, they were great. Shout out to our media team right there. It was exciting, man. You know, we're really proud of what we accomplished with these guys.